What if Deku was the king of the Easterlings? Part 3. Last where we left off, Gondor's army is marching to a fortress on the edge of the forest. I believe I call it the Fog Forest. With Deku had arrived there with only about 1,000 infantry. This infantry consisting of 200 swordsmen, 100 axemen, about 600 spears, and 300 orcs. 1,000 men. The cavalry have not arrived. Deku is there. They'll have to hold off against the army of like 2,000 Gondor infantry, archers, and whatever they had left. But because they had to go through this forest, they had lost many key items. All their artillery was lost. They could not get the siege units, or the siege items, through the forest. So all they could attain and make to attack this fortress is ladders. Now Deku does have at least 200 archers there as well, as they are outnumbered almost by 1,000. But remember, the Witchers have also allied themselves with Deku, the king of the Easterlings. As Deku goes to the walls, as he just sees the 2,000 infantry from Gondor that had made it. They've arrived. Sir, should we set up the catapult? Save the ammo. We'll save it for later. If everything falls, have everyone fall down into the little encirclement of spikes. We'll hold there if the outer wall doesn't hold. Of course, sir. Have the archers fire, and have the orcs stand at the walls to protect the archers. When the ladders arrive, get the archers off the walls. I'll relay it to the infantry right away, sir. Good work. As Deku just looks over at the army of Gondor. They dare march into my land. They'll regret it. Now we just need to delay until the cavalry arrives. As Silver comes over, I'm ready to fight with you, sir. Don't worry. Silver will be taking on Gondor as the ladders approach the wall. As they prepare to set up, a volley of arrows come flying through the air, killing several Gondor infantry. As a captain is there saying, "Keep firing! Shoot down the infantry trying to set up the ladders. It'll delay their attack." What about the remaining Gondor archers? We'll have to wait and handle the fire they send back at us. Right now, focus all fire on the people bringing up the ladders. Yes, sir. As several arrows started going down, killing several infantry from Gondor. But they had managed to send up the ladders, as they had only lost about at least 30 men while setting up the ladders. As they start climbing up, "Orcs, hold your position! Archers, fall back!" as one of the commanders told them. As they're falling back, Deku grabs a bow. From where he's positioned on the ground, he pulls it and lets loose. As soon as one of the Gondor infantry got their head above the wall, the arrow struck him straight in the head, as he tumbled down, taking several Gondor infantry that was climbing up the ladder behind him with him. Gain a total of 4 kills from the infantry falling off the ladder. As they had managed to get to the ladder and they're on the wooden walls. As you can just hear the clash of blades with orcs against Gondor. As the infantry just stands ready for when the orcs inevitably fall. As some of them are a bit shaken as they don't think they can win against Gondor. As Deku comes in riding on his horse. Don't waver, men. Gondor wants to take this land, strip us of our homeland, taking it for their own benefit. Stand strong. We'll defend to the last man, and we'll teach Gondor a valuable lesson. As they changed the spirits of his infantry real fast, as they started to cheer. As the orcs are inevitably falling with only 100 left on the wall, barely to struggle against the several Gondormen that stormed the wall. Archers, fire at the Gondor infantry that's on the walls. You have a clear shot. Yes, sir. As they start firing, gain several kills. Witches? Do you mind doing the honors? Why, of course. They also start using the Witchers and start burning several of the Gondor infantry. Gain some friendly fire with the orcs. But the orcs are all but gone now. Send in the swordsmen! As the swordsmen rush up the ladders, or rush up the walls to face the Gondor infantry, to keep them on the walls. As several of them are in prolonged combat. Silver, gather the horsemen within the city. Why, sir? Trust me. As the battle goes on for at least a few hours, with several losses for both sides, they had stopped at a point for a mere moment, setting infantry up. With only the spearmen and the axemen and the units of archers almost out of ammo, the Gondor infantry still having at least 1,000 strong. They had dwindled their numbers, but they had also taken down the orcs and the swordsmen of the Easterlings. A few of the swordsmen managed to fall back, but they had decided to hold their assault. As a horn can be heard, "Sally out!" as Deku leads his horsemen out the gates, and rushing out at the infantry of Gondor. As another horn is heard, as at least 500 cavalry had to come as well from the mountains. It took them time, but General Horn had arrived. Charge! As Deku rides out and starts slashing at the several Gondor infantry, cutting some and killing some on the way, as well managed to parry, as they go into a fierce battle as it was a cavalryman that had survived. But he was no match for Deku as he sliced him in half, as he saw the Gondor general on horseback trying to flee. Remaining men, follow me! We take the general out, the rest will flee. As 10 horsemen, being Deku's bodyguard, start riding towards the enemy general. While the Gondor infantry was being slaughtered by the cavalry, the ones on the walls were confused, to where the spearmen had rushed up to finish them off. The archers let loose of the rest of their ammo, and Gondor was falling with a swift pace. As Deku had reached the Gondor's general, eventually he had managed to surround them. Surrender, perish. I challenge you to a duel. A duel, you say? Yes. You win. The rest of my forces shall surrender. And if I win, you have your army surrender. All right. As Deku gets off his horse and pulls out his blade, while the Gondor general also gets off his horse, pulls out his blade and shield. Let's settle this then. As they walk in a circle for a minute, keeping an eye on each other, before the Gondor general makes a move, slashing to Deku's right. Deku quickly moves his sword and blocks it. He tries to use his shield to hit Deku in the head. Deku simply punches the shield away and punches him in the face. As he's disoriented, Deku lifts up his sword to slash down. The Gondor general managed to gather his consciousness and dodge the blade. You're pretty quick. I would expect nothing less from a Gondor general. I won't fall that easily. You know. I know that. But after this, I must go help my ally Harad. As he swings his blade, as the Gondor uses his shield to block it. You won't be helping anyone. As Gondor General goes for a low slash, Deku jumps over the slash and cuts the string holding the shield to his wrist, making it fall. I guess it's now sword v sword. As they go for fierce slashes, each one parrying the slash of the other. The battle went on for at least 5 minutes until Deku got a good slash on his back. The Gondor general managed to get a good slash on Deku's arm, losing the grip on his sword as it goes flying, where Deku had grabbed it with his other hand and thrown it, piercing the Gondor general's shoulder. You shouldn't have done that. You're now disarmed. As he lifts up his sword and swings down at Deku. As Deku moves to the right. You really think I would just have a sword? As a dagger was in his hand, and he stabs the Gondor general straight in the throat. How? Never underestimate the Easterlings. We may have fallen in the war between you and Sauerman, but I can promise you this. You had the numbers, and you had a surprise attack. We're fully prepared for this one, so don't take us lightly. As he pulls the dagger out of his throat, as he falls to the ground and bleeds out, the Gondor infantry drop their swords and shields as all hope was lost. The battle has been won, men. We shall celebrate! And in the morning, we shall head to our ally Harad, as they are also under siege from Gondor. As the men cheer, hooray, hooray! You may drink to your heart's content tonight, giving more of them a reason to cheer. As they decide to put the prisoners in cells, and as they celebrate a feast where they have wine, meat, and all sorts of delicacy meals of the Easterlings. That was a good battle, sir. You did well yourself, Silver. But that was kind of your first test of combat in real battle, wasn't it, sir? Against an opponent that strong, yes. My father only kept me to short battles. Less than 1,000 men, more like 100. Your father was a little bit of a protector, you could say. Yes. He did everything he could to make sure I didn't go with him to the battle. A good thing, in case he did lose his life, we would be without a king. That would be true. So I guess my father did have some foresight. As one of the Witchers approached them, "May I sit?" "Of course, my friend." As he sits down, "This is an amazing victory, but I cannot help you from here forth. I can help you with protecting your land, but I cannot leave, as, with us Witchers being so few in number right now, if we left to other areas, we could not ensure the safety of the Easterlings as we had made the deal." "Fair point. It doesn't matter. You can stay here and protect. I'll have my forces go help Harad. After all, they should be fine with the amount of Mumakil they have in their army. But just in case, Gondor is most likely going to send most of their forces to them. because of their dangerous elephants. Yes, the Harad have some amazing war elephants, able to kill several hundred of men when going through. Yes. But Gondor is relentless, and with Rohan backing them up as well, they'll need backup. I'll send my cavalrymen and myself to go help them out. After all, the King of Harad is a good old friend of mine. It's good he didn't die in the battle. He didn't die. He managed to escape with his life, luckily. Without him, Harad may have already fallen. It's bad that our allies of the pirates had fallen. But some pirates had started attacking you that were no longer a part of the faction. I know. I sent the cavalrymen to take care of them. Good work, I suppose? But do you have any idea of what we might need to take care of? As the army of Gondor and Rohan have significantly numbers, they'll probably try to overpower us. They may even attack while you're gone. I doubt this. I doubt they've gotten word of their army's defeat. It'll probably be at least a little bit before they reach the kingdom. But in that time, we can grow our forces and prepare to strike back. But first, we should help our allies. Harad being one of our only allies that hasn't fallen, we should focus on them. The Dunlendings have pretty much fallen. The pirates are all gone. Maybe a few ships of them are left, but not many. They'll probably regroup somewhere on an island. I'll send a force and see if I can gather their aid. After all, I have at least some seamen amongst my ranks, so they'll go and ask for their aid. That's a good idea. But what about the others? The orcs of the Misty Mountains. No, it's the goblins of the Misty Mountains, isn't it? It's the goblins. And the orcs. What about them? The orcs have been non-negotiable, except the ones that worked for you. The goblins of the Misty Mountains probably won't work as well. Our only hope is Harad. If we form an alliance, we could probably fight back against Gondor and Rohan. And their capital is also one of the best to defend, because their capital is a fortress that has been penetrated, as I heard, in the past 200 years. I really hope that rumor is true, though. As Silver comes in, it's true, your father had gone there several times. Yes, he would never let me come. That's because only one diplomat and one king, or someone from the royal family, is only allowed to come one at a time. And since your father was the ally, he had to go to discuss diplomatic solutions. Okay, I can understand that. But what about any word on Sauron? Oh, right. Forgot the information. He's probably long dead. We may have to worry about Gandalf. Hopefully he doesn't come here. If Gandalf comes here, we may lose the land and lose this war. The Witcher says, you shouldn't worry about that. Gandalf is currently held up within, I believe, Arnor, for the time being. He has no word of the Easterlings attacking. As long as we stay on the defense, I doubt he'll get involved. Alright, I can see your reasoning behind that. And let's just enjoy these drinks before we ride out in the morning, as he talks to his two generals. Also, Silver, How is your Silver Guardman doing? Ah, yes. Apparently, with this new streak of victory, we've gained several amount of recruits. I've made several of them into Silver Guard. That's good. The Silver Guard is a spear unit with double end spears. What about the Black Numenorians? I heard that they were loyal to Sauron, but now with his defeat, what has come of them? Apparently they've stayed docile, and because of how powerful they were, Gondor has not yet decided to strike against them. Alright. Maybe we could ask them for backup. We did help them in the war. That is true. As we had helped them several years ago. I believe it was your grandfather who had gone and helped them when they were under siege by... Was it Gondor and the elves? Yes. We had gone as backup and managed to surround the elven forces, managing to wipe them out and help them hold against Gondor. Yes, that was absolutely brilliant play by your grandfather. Yes. But anyway, Horn, I would like you to stay here in the capital while I'm gone and deal with any matters that may occur. Why, of course, sir. I will look after everything here. If Gondor attacks, I'll gather the remaining troops, and we should be able to hold them off, especially with the Witchers and the catapult. And with our defenses, we should be able to at least hold for the time you return. Good, but I doubt you'll be attacked while I'm gone. It would take them at least a little bit to send a decent force to take this place. Fair point, and especially if we hold at the capital, it'll take them longer as it's further away from here. Of course. Do we have any word on Herod's situation, though? Yes, they've currently been holding in the fields with where they've constantly been using their war elephants, the Mumakil. That's good. They've also been using skirmish tactics, a reasonable choice, especially with the amount of numbers of Gondor right now. Yes. So they've had significant damage to the Gondorian army, but for the most part, it seems their troops have constantly been retreating, as they've lost every battle, but pretty much been dwindling down Gondor's army. They've managed to save several of their troops by retreating. Well, at least that's good. Saving as many lives is a very good thing, especially in war. Especially when you're doing skirmish tactics. We do have it looks like they've also recruited some mercenaries. Mercenary spears and some mercenary axemen. Not surprised. Mercenaries would definitely be helpful. Unfortunately, we cannot trust the mercenaries here. It might be because they might try to steal the armor of several of our elite men. Yes. I wouldn't doubt mercenaries would try to murder at least one soldier to get their armor, because we make it out of gold. Or that's what everyone thinks. We do make it out of gold, sir. Yes, I understand that. But what really helps us in the defense is the chainmail we make. It helps us against arrow fire. It's also why we always have full body armor, isn't that right? Yes. Although the spiders may get restless. As the Witcher speaks up. Why, they shouldn't get restless at all. They've had a full meal. And if anything, we can send the corpses up to the mountain. It will at least keep them having enough food, and they shouldn't at least bother you for several months. Do that. Send the corpses up to the mountains, to the border where they can reach them. It's better to keep them as a defensive lair than for them to come out. And since they mostly like to stay in the trees, as long as we send no infantry that way, we should be fine. And status on the pass we had blocked off. We are trying to open it back up as is a quick way to send troops through. But instead, we've also put a roof above the cavern, making it a cave. We've also started excavating within that little area to make it a cave where we can set up a station of defense for supplies and transport. It'll be the main gateway within the Easterling territory. Good. When will it be complete? Most of the rubble has been moved out from one of the entrances where we can enter on this side. They're still working on the other side. The roof has been finished, and they've started excavating on the caves, into the walls to make caves, as they're working on it right now. Well, that's good. Well, let's rest, and drink to as much as you would like. As Deku goes into his room, as he sits on his bed, and he looks at the ring. Why would this ring still be in my family if everyone said it was a curse of the Nazgul and Sauron? As he just kept looking into the ring. Whatever. I'll keep it just in case. Who knows? It may not be a curse. And that's where I'll end part 3 of What If Deku Was the King of the Easterlings.